So good evening and namaste. My name is Basesh Gala. I'm founder of a company called 39 Solutions, and we have mentored more than 55,000 young leaders and entrepreneurs across India and now going across the world. And the topic that was given to us today, perspectives worth challenging. So I'm going to share about the Indian business dynamics. So all those who want to start their own startups or join their family business or even, do a job but become an intrapreneur, an entrepreneur within a company, the tips should be extremely useful. So let's go. India Biz 2020, like I said, we are going to start reaching 2020 and an extremely interesting time. I've given this presentation across the world and we have been very excellent insights backed by data and research. And the topic for today is Flourish or Vanish, right? And this is a very, very interesting theme because there is one concept going on across the youth, leaders and business of India, which is called as Chalta Hai or comfort zone. And therefore, there are just two outcomes possible for us, especially for Indian business and leaders. Either you vanish, boom, or you flourish, you grow. So, let's see some data points build up. Like I said, those who are interested in startups, then traditional businesses, MSME, corporates, they are all going through an extremely interesting time in the last 24 months, right? And the biggest challenge in this last 24 months are two words called as disruptive innovation. There has been so much disruption because of technology, because of global macroeconomic indicators, because of changing customers, that the businesses are facing heat. So let us see some dynamics. So traditional business, people who are there in their own micro, small, medium enterprises, people who are there in their own family business, the next generation today is not wanting to join this business. 2/3, which is almost 67%, very surprisingly, doesn't want to join their family business or their traditional business. They either want to do their own startup or they feel that business is not equivalent enough to their skills, their passion, or there's a lot of ego hassles between the generations. So this is one insight. And another extremely troubling insight. This is our data which we have researched gathered across 750 plus organizations in India, over 12 cities and towns, over the last 24 months. Right? Yes. Over the last 24 months, 57% of the companies of the sample size have declined in revenue, profit and cash flow. 57%. That's a big number. We are talking today of a possible recession, but this is ground reality. 28% have maintained the status quo. They are around where they were 2-3 years ago. And only 15% have been able to grow. And therefore, based on this research, based on our experience, we have divided these companies into two areas. One are normal, ordinary companies, which are 85%, the 57 and the 28, 85%, which have not been able to grow in this dynamic, challenging times. And the other are 15% of the companies, which are really growing despite a lot of disruption, despite a lot of changes. And so we have analyzed these companies and come with a solution that if you really want to grow, be part of the Flourish group, you need to do certain things right. Else, you will be in the ordinary group, which will begin to vanish. Hence the theme, Flourish or Vanish. So there are two things that all leaders, young startup guys, young entrepreneurs, businessmen have to do across. And the first thing is improve themselves as a leader. So either you lead or you bleed. So you have to understand that most businessmen, most owners are not leaders. I may own a company, I may run a company, I may be sate of a company, but I may not necessarily be a leader. And therefore it's very important for us to understand what leadership traits we need to build. And I'll quickly go through these traits which will help all aspiring entrepreneurs and traditional businessmen and startups to become better leaders. So first trait is all leaders must set their expiry date on day one. This is one of the most unassuming soft traits, but it is extremely required that a leader cannot go on forever. if he or she wants to set up a clear legacy, they need to be very clear that my tenure, my role as an active leader would be for 5 years or 7 years, and then I would go in a non-executive role, in a mentor role, or in a more just oversight role. And it is extremely important to maintain your second line and third line. One of the biggest reasons why companies are struggling and entrepreneurs and owners are struggling is, as a leader, they are outdated. As a leader, they are not tech savvy and they don't have their second line and the third line ready. So the first leadership trait that we all need to work on as entrepreneurs is set an expiry date for yourself and build your second and third line. Next slide, please. The most important point which I would like to share to all entrepreneurs, all leaders, is the circle of influence. If there is one thing that you need to implement in this entire presentation, it is your circle of influence. You are what the sum or average of 5 people whom you spend time with. If you spend time with winners, if you spend time with ambitious people, if you spend time with spiritually inclined people, then you become to start thinking like them and you become like them. So it is extremely important who is your circle of influence, who are your friends, who are your peers with whom you spend maximum time. And this circle of influence must push you to do 2 things. Number 1, challenge you. Get out of comfort zone, get challenged, respectfully, push each other. And second, take you to a journey of continuous learning. It's an extremely important, next point please. It's an extremely important point to understand. Don't be the smartest person in the room. If you are the smartest person in your friend circle, if you are the smartest person in your organization, you are not going to grow because no one's going to challenge you, no one's going to share things with you. Hire mentors, create a good support system, hire coaches so that they challenge you and they push you to become better. So first leadership trait, like I said, is set your expiry date. Second leadership trait is your circle of influence. Next slide. Third, most people think that IQ is a very, very important indicator of success. But a lot of research, including our own in India, says that IQ is a very small indicator for success. In fact, IQ has no correlation with professional or business success. It is much more beyond an IQ, and it starts with one of the biggest challenges Indian entrepreneurs face is discipline. If you look at the points, most people don't have clarity. What are my goals? What do I need to achieve with my life? What do I need to achieve in the next 3 years? And how do I achieve in this next 3 years? That clarity is missing. The second thing is communication. We don't communicate to listen. We don't communicate to understand each other. We usually communicate to put our points and to dominate and to influence. And because of that, people with high IQ are typically poor communication guys because of lack of empathy. Time management skill is also usually a challenge for Indian leaders because of lack of discipline, ability to have balance across family lives, personal development and business and career goals. And extremely important, you need to move beyond IQ. People who have good EQ and SQ, emotional quotient and spiritual quotient, are the ones who are more successful. They have more empathy, they are able to work better in teams, they are able to take everyone together and influence positively at a certain level. So as a leader, instead of IQ is important, but more important is EQ and SQ, and Indian leaders who work on them will move more towards flourishing themselves and their business. And this is one of the most important points. Across the world, we look across people who are flashy, people who have arrogance, people who like to splurge and make a style statement. But successful leaders and entrepreneurs are those who have a lot of personal humility, who are down to earth, who are grounded, and have humility, are extremely soft, would like to give credit to their team, to their families, to God, to nature, to universe, have less arrogance. But in the professional world, they are extremely tenacious. They don't give any excuse. Once a target is set, once a roadmap is set, instead of giving excuses, they give solutions. One of the most important takeaways to go towards the Flourish group is have personal humility, be grounded, be nice, spread love, but in your professional world, have tenacity, don't give excuses, keep going after your goals, and this combination will make you an extremely effective business leader, extremely effective leader, and help you go towards Flourish. So this was my first segment, how can we be effective leaders going towards 2020 and beyond. My next segment is towards businesses. And extremely insight is either your business is flourishing or your business is vanishing. And one of the most important points, next slide please, one of the most important points for Flourish is understanding that today the environment has changed. The political, economical, social, technological environment has changed. The customer has changed. And the single most important reason over the last decade, a lot of startups or traditional MSME family business have failed is because of relevance. My business model is not relevant. A lot of companies who are in this Flourish group, the 15% who have done extremely well, they keep challenging themselves that times are changing, customers are changing, how do we upgrade our thought process, how do we upgrade our business model, how do we upgrade our value creation. Whereas those people who are stuck in the same 10, 15, 20-year-old mindset are having the same business models and they are getting disrupted. So for an example, a retail store which doesn't focus on customer service is most likely to get disrupted because of online delivery options and e-commerce. A real estate as an investment class needs to be changed as a business model because of the regulation changes. A manufacturer can now think of delivering pan-India because of change in the legal and the taxation rules of the country. So with time, if my business model is not changing, I am out. And the two most important questions every successful organization must have an answer to is first, who is my customer? Where are my customers? Who is my customer? And most importantly, why are they my customers? And most surprising is the 85% of the block of the businesses which were not growing towards the Vanish group did not have an answer to this question. And the 15% who are really growing, even in tough times, challenging, dynamic times, had a clear answer to this question that these are my customers and this is the reason they are my customer. They cannot leave me because of ABC. Alright, so your business model relevance is something which we all really need to work hard upon. Next please. An extremely important thing is the time for mediocrity is over. This time is for excellence and becoming a master. Most organizations, most colleges, most businesses must now look into doing one or two or three things, but doing them so well that they achieve a niche, they achieve an excellence. And it was proven across the Vanish and the Flourish group that companies which focused on excellence and becoming masters were able to survive, sustain and even scale. They were able to grow. It is absolutely clear and research has given us across time, over the last 50, 60 years, a lot of research has come on business saying that in your segment, in your customer product industry segment, if you are not in the top 5, you are out. You are across in the red ocean where people are fighting each other in the bloodied water for competition, price and discount. And if you are in the top 5, you get your premium, you get your market share and you get value to growth. Similarly in life, whatever we do, whether it's arts or music or business or entrepreneurship, either let's get top 5 in anything that we love and we are passionate about, or we'll be stuck in the crowd in the red ocean just fighting a competition. A big insight for Indian businesses is let's become master, let's become excellent in doing one or two things, but doing them extremely well, rather than just being general and mediocre. Right? Next, extremely important attitude. Earlier companies used to focus only on their product and service. Nowadays companies have become customer centric. And what do I mean by customer centric is how do I create value every day? And it was found across our research, across the 750 companies in India, that companies which were in the Flourish group, alright, the 15% companies, there, every important team member, L2, L3, L4, every important team member thought about value creation and decided value creation is my responsibility. And extremely important is also the point that this attitude of value creation and innovation, improvement, excellence should always come from bottom up. It should never be top down. If the leader, if the owner, if the CEO, if the manager is pushing growth, is pushing excellence, you are out. Boom. The real ideas, suggestions, innovations should come from bottom up. And this is one area where a lot of traditional Indian businesses need to work, where suggestions are usually not encouraged or not taken seriously, and the company is driven only by one or two people, and which is why they start going more in the vanish mode. Yes, next. Extremely important is the idea of SMART goals. And it's very interesting that you need to focus on right parameters, because if you focus on wrong parameters, things may go wrong. I'll give you a very small story to explain this idea. Long time ago in British Raj, there was a problem of rats in Delhi. Alright? And because of the problem of rats in Delhi, the British Raj government declared that if you kill a rat and if you submit that rat, we will pay you some rupee. Let's say we pay you XYZ, we'll pay you 1 rupee. And when they announced this scheme, the population of rat initially declined, but after some time it increased. And it increased. And people were worried, why did it increase? And they later found out they were focusing on wrong parameter. They should have focused on cleanliness and hygiene, but they focused on killing the rat. And the Indian population, being smart, being jugards, they started breeding rats in-house. And because they started breeding rats in-house, they started creating this income source for them, where every day they used to, have the, mice and the rat bred, kill the rat, take the rupiah. So the government then decided, let's stop this scheme. And the problem even became worse, because all the rats which were kept for breeding were released on the roads and the population kept on increasing. Similarly, the idea is in our lives, in our business, do we focus on the right parameter? Some people just focus that, my name should be seen everywhere. My marketing should come everywhere. I should be there on the front page of a newspaper. I should be there on television. Is that the right parameter? Some people feel, just feel that, my valuation needs to be best. Let me not focus on profitability. Some people feel that I just need to go for turnover and big balance sheets. So it is extremely important that let's focus on the right parameters. The right parameters will give us success, and parameters need to be really smart in nature, right? Simple, measurable, assignable, realistic, and time bound. Most successful companies have SMART goals, and because they had SMART goals, they were able to achieve the progress, and they went in the Flourish group. Companies which did not even write their business plans, companies which did not even write their goals, were there in the Vanish group, the 85% Vanish group, which went on failing, right? Very, very important in today's time, like I said, people need to really focus on ROI and working capital, that is return on investment. Just focusing on revenue or valuation is not going to cut the game. This is an era of discipline and efficiency, right? Next, please. Yes, next, please. And one of the last points, which is the Achilles heel of Indian business, is culture and systems. We are extremely poor, in general, Indian businesses, especially traditional business, the MSME and the family business, in deciding a good culture, where people are allowed to grow, people are allowed to be happy and productive. And because of the lack of systems and discipline, companies are not able to create sustainable period of success. If we focus on the right culture, attracting the right talent, retaining the right talent, creating a positive environment to have productivity and happiness, and if we have discipline via fast, efficient systems, companies will keep growing. So with this, I go to my last slide. Yes, next. With this, I think there are enough insights that these are challenging times. If we work on our leadership skills, if Indian business owners work on their leadership skills, and if they work on their business models, if they work on their business flourishing strategies, I hope they achieve a lot of success. I also wish you all the very, very best, and thank you for having me here. Have a good time. Thank you so much.